Hi guys, Rachel Brinke from Fit Legally, and today's video is going to be 3 tips of how to survive an Ironman. I'm not a coach or a specialist or even a professional. I'm an everyday age group athlete just like you guys, but I wanted to share 3 of the tips that have helped me to get through an Ironman. These everyday athlete tips are brought to you by Rachel Brinke from Fit Legally in partnership with Rest Performance, the world's first smart bed. Their mission is to get you, the everyday athlete, into mode rest. I think the very first one is most important is to be as organized as possible. Organized leading up to the race. I start packing and prepping everything on a checklist ahead of time. Start putting everything into my bags, even at the house. I get the large Ziploc baggies and I start putting all my transition stuff and the special gear stuff in each bag. I end up with probably 8 of those large Ziploc baggies that are about so big. I have one for swim bike run and then for the transitions and then also special needs, and those kind of go together. And then I will have an extra one that has extras just in case I decide to freak out at the last minute and to throw stuff in. I also keep a smaller Ziploc baggie that has like my tri-tats and extra stuff like the hair gel, the hair ties I need to do all the pre and post race stuff. That way when I get to my destination, I can pull everything out and it's easy and ready to go. If you do it in bags like this ahead of time, when it's time for you to check in and get your special needs bags, you literally just dump from one into the other and you don't have to run through the checks 500 times, maybe only do it 499 times because I know you guys are going to end up doing it anyways. But being organized will help to settle the nerves immensely. So you know on race day you can tell yourself, it's okay. I am organized. I'm already ready to go. There's not really much more that you can do at that point. Don't freak out. I've often seen the athletes, and I've done this myself, freak out and think, oh my God, I need to have a little bit of extra of this or that. And you end up throwing off your whole mindset and your game plan. And then you end up spiraling out of control. And you don't want to do that. In fact, I did this in a really hot race recently, which I shared in my Raleigh 70.3, which I know is a half, but still it was hot. And I made this great mistake that I don't want to ever make in a full. But I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so hot and humid outside. I need to take in extra salt pills. I took an extra salt pills and ended up puking for almost half of the entire run. And so that kind of really sucked. And I don't recommend you do that. So if you stay organized and stick to your plan of everything that you've worked on up into the day and stay organized as possible, it will keep you from falling off the path and falling into little panic moments like that. Tip number 2 is for you to trust the process. Sounds so cliche, I totally get it, but you really have to trust your training and realize that when it comes taper week and it's the day of, there's no sense in expending extra energy because you're just going to be putting it out there instead of putting it into the actual moving of your arms and your legs and everything else on the course. You can't add an extra mileage. You're not going to add any other strength. You need to focus on telling yourself you have done this. You've gotten here. The hay is in the barn. There's nothing else that you can do. So just trust the process the entire time. Trust the plan. And tip number 3, and probably really the reason I wanted to do this video, well, 1 and 2 are really good tips, I think, overall to have. They can help at any portion of your Ironman training. But tip number 3 is when it comes to your special needs or your gear bags. It's really important if you're a first-time Ironman racer to have the support. Not all of us have a lot of encouraging friends or family in our lives. I'm very lucky that I do. So much so that in all of my Ironmans, I have received notes in my special needs and my gear bags, because I don't always use special needs anymore, but in my gear bags that I can take with me. You can see it's laminated. This was from my husband. Had a hole punch because we had done a group of them from friends and put on a ring, and I was able to go through and read them. I ended up having to pitch them because they were laminated so hard. It was hard for me to shove it into my shirt and hang on to it. I ended up pitching everyone else's and kept my husband's. The race before that, the full that I did, we actually had just used packing tape, and I think that was a lot easier because then I could just fold it up and stick it into my tri-top, and I kept everyone's notes.
from that race. I do like that this one, it was true lamination because then I get to keep it for the long haul. And it basically says, no one could be more proud of you than me. 6 babies, 2 dogs, and almost 13 years. So proud to see you attempting your dreams. We all love you. And it's just nice to have these little notes as you go along. My first Ironman, the one that I did that we used the packing tape on pieces of paper, I actually posted on social media a couple weeks before, calling out to my friends to put an encouraging note, and I didn't want to read them. I didn't go back to look at it. I ignored all the notifications, and my husband took all of those, printed them out, and made them onto a ring. Some of them were really funny stuff. A lot of it was people telling me how inspirational I was to them, but it helped to tick off the miles. Other things that you can do, and I really enjoy this as a cancer survivor, I've been a survivor for 11 years, is that you could take and dedicate each mile or every half mile of your run to someone who has either succumbed to cancer, who was fighting it, or who has survived. And you can get names. You can write them on your arm. You can put them into little notes. You can do one long note, and that way you can think about them and think about their struggles they've gone through and how you get the ability to do what you're doing, because that is my mission and that is my statement, that I get to do this, that we get to do this. So my third tip for Ironman is to find a purpose and get little notes when it comes to your run. I don't recommend it for the bike. Really, the run is when you're going to need it the most. And so I really recommend having these little encouraging notes for you guys to have ready for you. And if you're not able to have a friend do it for you, simply have friends email it and just print it without looking at it. You don't have to read it. You can still cut it and get it all ready to go, and have it available for you on race day. Maybe some before the race, maybe some during the run, or after, whatever suits your personality and what's going to inspire you the most. I just know I really enjoyed flipping through the ring, reading the little jokes and things that my friends had written down, as well as the encouragement from my spouse. I hope these 3 tips help you guys. It's not meaty, it's not hard hitting, but they are the 3 main things that have helped me get through the full each and every time that I've done it without losing my mind, or at least all of it.